Happy morning, dear students. How are you this morning? Today, we are going to see a wonderful lesson. But before that, I would like to ask you a simple question. And please open your notebooks and write your opinions on that point which I am going to ask you. First one is, what do you think of today's education system? Please write down. And second point, is today's education for parents or for students? Please write down. And we are going to see how these 2 points which you have written now is relevant to today's lesson which we are going to study. And this lesson's title is Father, Dear Father. It's written by Raj Kingar. He is a journalist and is not only just a news writer, rather he observes the surrounding society and finds out the issues mainly which concern to a normal person and the society. And those points he brings into the notice of people as well as the government through the social media, basically newspaper. And today's lesson, it is an article published in English daily The Hindu in the form of a letter. It was published. It's an imaginary letter, not real letter. So it's an imaginary letter. A boy whose name is Rahul, he wrote this letter to his father. That's the main point of this article. And in this article, author highlights the defects in the mindsets of parents, students, teachers, and the government bodies. It sets all to a new way of thinking. And this is a letter written to a father by his son. His name is Rahul, schoolboy. Rahul is the class topper, but his first rank slips to the second rank. That is the main cause of this letter actually. And he was admitting the guilt, and he writes this letter to his father in response to this his father's disappointment. That's we are going to see. And I would like to tell you a simple technique to understand any lesson. First, we have seen about the author and the purpose or the motto of the author, right? Now, in the lesson, we have to see the main characters and their background and what did they say in that lesson or an article. Then we can easily understand the whole concept of the any lesson. English is very easy to understand if you focus on this point. Same way, if you see in this article, the Rahul, he brings out several characters through his letter. First, he talks about his grandparents, his grandfather and his grandmother, and he talks about his mother, and he asks several questions to his father. So in his own family, 4 characters we have seen: grandpa, grandma, father and mummy. And it asks several questions based on these 4 characters that gives some understanding us. Later on, he talks about his school atmosphere, the teaching methods. He talks about his biology teacher and he tells about his English teacher. And ending, he tells about the reason why he falls from first rank to second rank. That's it. The whole lesson concept is that. And during the some points in the school, point, he mentions about Newton, and Archimedes, and some science rules and some maths rules. That's it. So now let us first we have to read the lesson. Remember, without reading any lesson we can't understand. Many people look after the study material. Please don't depend on study material. Study material will help you only question answer. You can't improve your knowledge. So when you read the lesson from your textbooks, now please open your textbooks. Read this lesson. Hardly 10-11 paragraphs are there. It may take 10 to 15 minutes. Like meaningful reading, not fast reading. Don't read at the surface reading. Just read deeply. So it will help you to the reading comprehension develops when you are reading the lesson, as well as you can understand the sentence structure and the author's motto, what is the mindset he is trying to tell through this particular lesson. And when he is speaking or writing or describing about the scenario or the area or the person, then we can understand, this is the way we can describe the persons and personalities also. That will help us to understand when we are going to write any lesson or article or any question answers. And also you can learn new vocabulary which helps you to build your vocabulary and your communication skills also. And these are the main points you must develop while you are reading, not by just by-hearting any answer. That doesn't make any sense. So please don't depend on study material, rather read the total lesson from the textbook from first paragraph to the last paragraph and try to understand while you are reading what is the main point of this lesson and what the author is trying to convey the message through this lesson. So hope you enjoyed while reading the total text from your textbook. Now we will see little deeper inside the lesson, step by step and point after the point. This will help you to remember the story very easily, and whenever you have to write any point of this lesson, you can write easily without any stress. Okay, let's start the lesson. Here we can see in the very first sentence, this is an answer to your letter about my transgression. So that clearly shows when his father has written a letter, in that letter he mentioned that his son's transgression. So what was the transgression? Second sentence, it clearly shows the boy's first rank slipped to the second. So that is the transgression according to his father. The boy here mentions about father's advice. What was that advice? That he said that think before studying, think before answering the papers. So the word think make him to think over many things. So that's why he's saying that these are the results of those musings, rather the thoughts. Let us see what are those thoughts. In second paragraph we can see the boy and father, they don't have a proper relationship, it shows. He said that we have never really been close, and I can't rightly say you have been my friend, philosopher and guide, etc. So the boy was expecting that his father should be his friend, philosopher and guide, but there was not such a relation. So he was disappointed about that. But he's appreciating him that you are very much educated, you are providing everything for the house, but please try to understand my feelings which are very important to me, he says. And here very thought-provoking questions he asks his father. He says that you have departmental store, but do you apply Pythagoras theorem or Newton's law of gravity? For that matter, does your doctor friend or your lawyer brother? So by saying that, he is questioning his father to think what is he doing. Here we can see in these 3 paragraphs 4 characters. The boy's observations, just you focus on them, then we can understand the boy's feelings. First he talks about his grandfather. Grandfather spent his childhood as a
carefree and beautiful childhood. He spent in these days in the gardens plucking mangoes and guavas and playing gilli danda and marbles. So it was very easy for him. He says that he's asking his father, Papa, within these 70 years, what happened to this world? Grandfather's time and my time. Is that the whole world has become ups and down? He said that topsy and turvy, or is he fibbing? That means is he lying to us? So world is same. Then why the situation has changed from the grandpa's time to my time? That's what he's asking in the first paragraph. Second paragraph, another character, grandmother. And see here his observations. Grandma is a semi-literate, but she is peace with her pots and pans. Means she is peaceful in the kitchen when she is cooking, and when she is doing gardening, there also she is very happy. And while reading Bhagavad Gita also, she is very happy. So she maintained peaceful and happy. But look at my mother, highly qualified and is highly strung, tense and nervy. So he is asking, do you think that literacy is a harbinger of restlessness, fear, frustration? Is it Adam and Eve eating the tree of knowledge all over again? So these Adam and Eve characters are from the Bible, the very first couple actually. So the main we can see, in the first point he mentioned about grandfather, secondly he mentioned the grandmother and compared with his mother's tense. In last paragraph we can see here boy's feelings, try to focus on his expressions. He says that, oh Papa, last week my rose plant almost died. See, he was talking about a rose plant and he wanted to save that plant. Then he went and asked his biology teacher what to do. Then she said, what should I do? I don't know. Just go and ask gardener. Then he was very hurt about that. He's saying that I am learning about pests. We are learning about pesticides, but we don't know how to use them. What kind of knowledge we are gaining? So have you noticed in this portion, in the first paragraph, he compared his grandfather's childhood and his childhood. Why this change? In second paragraph, grandmother is very happy and peaceful. Why highly educated my mother is always tense and nervous. And in third paragraph, he mentioned about today's education system. The biology teacher cannot give a practical knowledge to him which he can use in handy. In this part we can see the boy's frustration. See in his words, he said that I don't care why the apple does not fall upwards, nor do I care what Archimedes did. So that kind of knowledge, he's saying that it doesn't make any sense in my personal practical life or in daily life. He said that what is important is I could use that practical knowledge in my personal life. For example, I want to see my rose plant is healthy, and if any electrical issues comes in my house, the small things just like changing the fuse or something, that I can able to do that one. And my study table or my desk, I can do prepare or make with my carpenter tools, instead of learning about hypotenuse and relational square roots. This kind of knowledge is not practical in my daily life. Oh, that's his frustration. In next paragraph, he says very interesting point. He says that once I asked grandmother how she got to be so wise. Do you know what she said? She said that by living and experiencing. It's very simple, isn't it? By living and experiencing. Then he asked his Papa, are we living, or is life bypassing us? See, very interesting question, isn't it? And also is a very funny point. He says that, see, I'm afraid that I'm learning about Newton a lot, but if I had to see him face to face, I may not recognize him. That much busy I'm learning about him, but I can't recognize him. So what is the point of learning about him and I'm unable to recognize him? And he says one example of, he says that one award-winning movie, we went, and in that movie, Vinu, the boy, he says he prattles on hibiscus hibiscus is red, 100 times. But in his book, he colors it yellow. Boy asks here a very interesting question. Are we missing out on the essence of life? Isn't it? We are getting knowledge, filling our brain, but we are not fulfilling our real life as a life. That's what the boy's frustration we could see here. So we have come to the conclusion part. Here, the boy clearly says about today's education system and his frustration. He talks about his imagination. He says that my imagination wants to soar like a rocket to Jupiter and Mars. What does it mean? He says that to traverse new worlds and new fields. So what is trying to tell here? He says that he doesn't have any chance to new creativity and his imagination because the school teaching is just like stick to syllabus, like a frog in the well. This is the question, this is the point, this is the answer. That's it. You can't write your own things. You can't think your own way. So he doesn't have any. That's why he's saying that I want to go to new worlds and new fields. That shows he wants to do something creativity. And he says, anyway, Papa, do you know where I lost that quarter mark that brought about my fall? So the finally is disclosing the secret. Why did he fall from the first rank to second rank? Just quarter mark made him to second. That was a grammar topic. He says that I made a sentence like he was invited to tea, but my teacher was adamant. He said he was invited for tea. So it's a matter of grammar. And he says that Papa, he says, if he says, that his English teacher, if George Bush is the president of India, and you have to accept it. And if he says that sun rises in the west, you have to accept it. That kind of teachers are there in the school. So what we have to do, he's saying that his helplessness means you can't go beyond syllabus, you can't go beyond what they say. You cannot use your own creativity, you can't use your own brain. Just whatever they say, just rattamar. So that he lost that quarter mark. So that's how he explains his problem in the school and his personal life and his thinking to his father through this letter. And also he says that he explained that cause for his fall, and next time he is not going to give any chance. That he will say that I will keep your advice in mind, he says. And as always, he says that you're ever obedient son. So the boy shows clearly his obedience to his father, but at the same time he expresses his feelings. That's why you see in the last point one is very important. We see that is in the postscript. We can see the boy expresses his feelings, why he has written this letter in such a way. He says that your eyes will not see this anguished plea, my father. This was only to lighten my overburdened heart. It is not all arteries and muscles. It feels too. See, very touching words, isn't it? Heart is not just consist of arteries and muscles, but it has feelings also. Try to understand my feelings, he is saying. Because with your eyes you can't see that feelings. Your heart and mind together you have to understand the feelings of mine, he says. So that's the end of the lesson, my dear students. Hope you enjoyed. And once again you go through the lesson and recollect all the characters and their conversation. That's it. It's very simple. So through this boy, the author conveyed in today's education system loopholes. So that's the end of the story. Thank you. Now if you have any doubts, you can ask.